Hey, everybody, this is Gary Kay, and obviously you're watching a video version of my Rants and Raves podcast. I'm excited to be joined with two guys from Tascam, Chris and Dirk. Gentlemen, you're about 6 hours ahead of me, so first off, thanks for joining me late in the afternoon there and early in the morning here in North Carolina. You're in the UK, right?
No, we're in Germany.
Oh, in Germany. There you go. So you are 6 hours ahead of us. And what's the weather like in Germany? Because here it's been rainy for the last week.
Actually, today it's a nice day. It's cold, but there have been some blue skies, so it's still spring.
Well, congratulations on your ISE wins, your awards that you received from the ISE show. You guys had an incredible showing, launched a bunch of new products, launched into video, great demos at the show. And in fact, today, you're going to actually show us some stuff that doesn't get as much attention. Obviously, Tascam, you get a lot of attention for your hardware. You've been in the hardware side of the audio market for dozens of decades, or for many decades, I should say, dozens of years. And but your software tools are very impressive. So first off, talk about the hardware that I'm seeing there on the desk, and then let's demonstrate some software for the folks that are watching.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say we were stunned to receive an award for the VSR series, which is our really Tascam's first true video entry in the market. And but what we're going to be talking about today is the software that drives our new processors, which we also launched at ISE. Mm-hmm. Our control processors, we call them the Dante compact processors with Dante and AES67 network I/O plus internal DSP, and our MX8A, which is a matrix mixer with 10 by 10, 8 channels of I/O plus USB stereo I/O.
And what's cool about that is that you're marrying the old world audio and the new world audio together in this series, which is, you've got the legacy product and the network product. You're sticking everything on the network. And when you put it on the network, now you can do a lot more manipulation with it, not just DSP, but actually signal manipulation for destination and source. So that's really kind of what you're going to show us, right?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, Tascam's always had a lot of software in the products. I mean, if you look at the back there, these products have got software embedded in the digital mixers, and all the other products all have an element of software or firmware.
Sure.
And these are the first products that are truly software-driven and software configured. And the idea about particularly the compact processors is that they can, on their own, treat a small room, stream the audio, be controlled, be controlled by users with very simple controls on an iPad or a smartphone, and do some pretty impressive things in a very small package.
Let's demonstrate that. Show me exactly how the software allows you to run them.
Okay, so first of all, just to look a little bit at what they are. So these processors come in two different forms, with Euroblock connectors for the installation market or for the studio market, XLRs. They come with up to 4 channels of in or out. And you see it maybe on the screen now. You can see the 2 different versions of the MM-2D. There we go. And internally,
hold on for a second, Chris.
Okay, just 1 second. Well,
we need to.
Yeah, well, so what they're designed for is small rooms. 4 sources is going to definitely cover a small, medium-sized room application, classroom, meeting room applications, and even small. You could theoretically use these for small live events as well.
Yes, that's right. And of course, they're made to be cascaded. You can rack them up in pairs, or you can bolt them under a desk if you're doing that kind of installation. And we've made them with a bit of difference, because there are a lot of ugly black boxes in the in the contracting installation world, and we tried to make these nice enough looking to sit on a desk, sit in a studio as well. But with very, very straightforward, simple functions from a user aspect. And they've got nice things like they've got Cascade for the network. They've got power over Ethernet and local power, so you've got some redundancy. And as well as the software that we're going to demonstrate and show you, that's made to be very simple, so almost no training involved. You've got a very even simpler version that for controlling the functions such as source selection or group levels or zone level, but with a user application. So you can expose the controls that a user is going to be able to access. So, no access then to be able to mess up the configuration. And this is really a new approach for Tascam, and we see this as being something that is very desirable in the market, to have this kind of function, not just as an I/O box for network, AES-67 and Dante, but to be able to treat the signals and do some pretty smart things with it. So I guess you're seeing this is the picture of the internal architecture. So the nice thing about these units is that they can both process the I/O that they have. In this case, stereo in, stereo out. You've got stereo mic line with remote settings for the mic gain, the phantom power, polarity, this kind of stuff, and a pad. And you've got processing of streams from the network at the same time. So you can do some smart things like, for example, you could auto-duck some music channels that are running across Dante when somebody speaks into the microphone.
Right.
And that's so the announcements come over nice and clear. Plus, you can have some dynamics on the mic. You've got EQs. You've got some automatic level control. You've got some pretty nice things. Delays if you're having multiple outputs for speakers that are in different locations. And these can all be pre-configured and set up very simply through our application. So it's pretty much the same application that works across the entire range, and also works in a larger way with the matrix mixer that has access to eight inputs and 8 outputs, all mic line, plus a stereo pair from USB that you can set up this unit with in a larger installation and stream into some web-based conferencing software or recorder, for example, or for playback, and determine where that comes into the mixer. But for the smaller, this is the DCP Connect. You have presets that you can set up. You can also save up to 50 scenes, different configurations. But you can configure from the input side. This is stereo in, so we're just seeing 2 inputs. And you can see on the bar on the left, you can manage multiple devices in the same software. You simply click on the device you want to manage. And if you've got different devices across the network, it's auto-detect. They come up, you connect to them. They've got password protection, of course, for security. And you set up your different parts of your input settings, your gains, your trim, the dynamics, compressor, for example. So it's all very easy to understand. If you've ever done anything on any kind of mixer at all, these will be very understandable for you. And once you've configured it, you can save the settings, save it as a scene, and then expose that to a user to be able to load that configuration or to switch the routing between sources. So Dirk's going to click around into different parts of the software. You've got the ALC, automatic level control there. We've got some noise floor compensation, so that can take down levels when if there are no major level signals coming in. So it's some dynamics control. You've got the mixer side, which in this case is 4 channels with ambient noise compensator there, as you saw very briefly. Auto ducking, that's a nice function, so you can configure this into the mix. And then you can set up the routing and the output levels, and you can set some grouping of the channels. And this is accessed very, very easily over the network into any of the devices that are there.
So this is the configuration. The DCP Connect is the configuration software, but the operating software is MX Connect. Is that right? Is that
right?
So then MX Connect is obviously capable of being run on a PC, but it can also be run on a tablet and a phone as well, right?
Yes, that's right. So all of the applications we've got are cross-platform, Mac or PC, and iOS and Android.
Okay. Yeah. So one is configuration, one is actually operation. But in reality, what you can do with the configuration is you can actually preset different configurations for the same room. So for example, if they're using it as a classroom, then have one set of configurations, one set of presets. And if they're using it for live streaming from the same room, you could have a different set of presets. Because they could be using inputs for mics that they're also using for line level inputs as well for different applications, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So you could switch, and in the case of, say, something a bit larger like the matrix mixer, you could, in a banquet room scenario, one day you've got a big wedding party going on,
Right.
And it's just one big room. The next day, or the next hour, in the evening, it's split up into two rooms. One chill out, one for all the crazy people. And the next day it's 3 different meetings. And those would be simple configurations that a user could load. And they also have some nice functions, like these can be loaded automatically from a timer event. So you have a schedule that can load, if you pre-program what that room is going to be on a certain day. So really, this is a very new type of focus for Tascam products. I mean, these are truly aimed at installation, and we're focusing today a lot more on solutions rather than just products.
Yeah, obviously with this software, that's where you're going with that. So if you could, I see it's amazing how much configuration. I mean, it's got a full DSP obviously, but also you're obviously storing presets, so you've got some memory in there as well.
Yes.
And then can you also, so let's say you've got an application where you have a facility with 20 rooms that are going to be identical. Can you take one configuration, copy it over multiple times so you don't have to configure each room separately?
Yes, you can. You can export it.
Okay.
Load it so you can export that to any of the units and copy it across, configure it once. And we expect to have some libraries of different configurations already available by that you can download from our webpage. So this software is already available for the MX. It's already shipping, and very shortly for the DCP, which I'll just.
Okay. Can I come back to you, because I want to see your, is that your showroom there that you have that you're in right now, or where are you actually recording this?
Yes, we are. We're in our. I mean, we're in fact in Europe. Tascam is a distributor of its own products.
Okay.
And we're in the TIAT Europe HQ, and this is our meeting room. But we have a full suite of legacy and current products on show in this room, including a reel-to-reel machine, which you probably can't see unless you move the camera. It's just
it's funny because when I got in the industry, hey, I learned the old-fashioned way, so I have a great appreciation for the older technology, and I do like the way the new stuff looks, but at the same time, I also appreciate the history and the legacy of the industry. And obviously, Tascam is one of those companies that helped build the entire audio segment of our industry. I don't think there's a dealer alive today that hasn't used a Tascam product at one point in time. And what's interesting is I do an event with a distributor here in the United States, and I did a tour around their event, and I do a webinar for them that's, don't forget about the A and AV, because what's interesting is audio is actually more profitable product-wise than video, because the video gets all the glitz and the glamour, but the audio is sort of constant, and people are less likely to pick apart the cost of audio because of the performance and the history of audio. But obviously, this is a good opportunity. A podcast like this is to not only talk about the history of the industry with audio, but also show some of the new ways. I mean, audio has really been revolutionized with network, and Dante, obviously, and Audinate has played a big part of that. And Tascam is a big part of that. Of course, all these products are, everything that you're seeing here, including the MM-2D, is available at Tascam.com or their worldwide site. Guys, I really appreciate you doing this demo for me today. And again, congratulations on your award at ISE. I'm expecting even bigger things at Infocom, because I've heard some rumors about some larger launches at Infocom. So congratulations with the direction of the company.
Well, we haven't left our roots, and we're not intending to, because you know, of course, about products like the Model 24,
yep,
which is the entrant of Tascam into the mixing market.
Yeah.
And this is really big, you know, a hot product in the MI music industry, for bands, but it's also a product that has application into house of worship, into conference centers, and, you know, education. But so it's a product that goes both ways. It goes to the contracting market,
Yep.
so, you know, works pretty well for musicians. I mean, I'm buying two myself. So, and you know, talking about Tascam, it's amazing the number of companies, when you go and talk to someone, you say Tascam, they say, that was my first recording product. It was my first recording product, Porter Studio. So many people in the industry, you know, in general, even if they're on video companies, they know Tascam.
Yeah, and in fact, if you remember back to those days, if you looked at a rack from 30 feet away, you knew which products were Tascam products because they stood out because of that bright silver TIAC kind of color that you always had, and it's nice to see you sort of maintain that over the years. But again, Tascam.com. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me today, and y'all have a great day.
Okay, thank you very much, Gary.
Thank you.